wants to be one step ahead of the bishop. It is a joy to be with you tonight. And I am happy to be here for celebrating this beautiful feast day of St. Demetrius, the Myrrh-streaming. This is our only church in the metropolis of Denver that is dedicated to St. Demetrius. And it is beautiful for us as a community to come together and offer our prayers and ask for his intercessions. St. Demetrius is one of the more powerful figures, if you will, in the Orthodox world. And in the beautiful city of Thessaloniki, for those who have ever been able to journey and to go there, the beautiful cathedral of St. Demetrius is right in the center of town, just a few blocks away from the patron saint of St. Gregory the Theologian, which is the headquarters, if you will, of the metropolis of Thessaloniki. The church, the cathedral church of St. Demetrius, has been damaged numerous times over and over again by earthquakes. And if you ever go inside, and for myself, when I go in, it always looks unfinished because they are always putting pieces on. But you can't help but feel overwhelmed when you enter inside of the church because the strong scent of myrrh is still there. It is still present to this day. Historically, 10 days prior to the feast day, the sarcophagus, the casket, if you will, is processed out of the space in which it lies. It's brought to the center of the solea, and for 10 days there are parakleses, vespers, liturgies, everything else is celebrated because the regard that they have for that patron saint. And as it is placed there, thousands upon thousands of faithful people, not just from Thessaloniki, but throughout the world, work their way to that church to ask for the saint to intercede. There was one year that I was there, and it was just that 10th day, if you will, prior to the feast day of St. Demetrius, on the 16th day of October. I was blessed to be one of the priests who carried the casket out. It was one of the heaviest things, but when you smell the myrrh, everything becomes much lighter. We processed to the center, and the amount of faithful people that surrounded that space was overwhelming. The Metropolitan of the community, of the metropolis, was sharing with me when they open up the casket, it's open just a few times a year, this being one of them, that to this day it is not just a few droplets of myrrh, and the way that he described it, it was like a river. And to the point they could not get enough cotton to absorb everything that was placed inside of there for the faithful to receive. And when they received it, it never went dry. It was always something that was very fragrant. And if you've ever had that aroma, if you've ever been part of seeing that with being part of a saint, or seeing something like St. Dionysius of Zakynthos, St. Gerasimos of Kefalonia, here locally in the United States, we have the Hawaiian icon of Ivron, and the other icon of the Panagia in Taylor, Pennsylvania, and in other places. That aroma is something that is very different as a smell, if you will. It's better than incense. It's better than you can ever imagine. And that aroma of St. Demetrius is very strong. And I still remember one year that they gave me a small piece of that cotton that I brought back to Baltimore to my community. I was able to anoint hundreds of people. A few days later was the feast day of St. Demetrius, that we had a community in Baltimore, and the same thing took place, and it never went dry. And it's because of this that we remember the miracles that took place, because this is something that is a gift that St. Demetrius gave to us. When he was martyred, when all of these things took place, when everything had happened, the saint gave his life up for us. He gave his life up, and he witnessed Christ in front of people. And when that took place, it was life-changing, not obviously for the saint, but more importantly for those who were around him, and countless people became Christians because of that situation. And to this day, from across the world, people still go to that sacred site. On the feast day tomorrow, when the liturgy finishes, that casket, sarcophagus, if you will, which contains the sacred relics of St. Demetrius, is processed around the city. Because of the weight of it, they need to use trucks and hoists and other things to be able to get it through. And if you witness and you see the tens of thousands of people who show up just to get a glimpse, just to be part of it, you can't help but feel overwhelmed in what is happening. On my flight, I've been flying for the last 6 days, and today was the 5th of 6 flights that I've had this week. So you know yourself, when you're flying, after a while, after the first hour, you think it's not a big deal. Second, third, fourth hour, you're going out of your mind. And I always take a book with me. I have books on tape. I have all these other things for entertainment because you're sitting there for so long. And there was one saying that I read, and it was that of St.Demetrios Tsalikis, who's one of the newest saints of our Orthodox Church. And it was something that was so strong that it took an hour and even more than that, and even today, just to kind of digest what he said. And very vividly he said, if you knew what was going on in church, where we are right now, you would never look at your watch and you would never want to leave. For us, we are always in a hurry. We are always in rapid speed for everything. I know when I land in Dallas, if I land at the wrong hour, I will be sitting in traffic for hours. I know that if I'm in Denver, if I leave at the wrong hour, I will be sitting in traffic for hours. You know for yourself, when the bishop comes to the church, you're going to be sitting in church for hours. That's not the case. But more importantly, you know for yourself that when the realization as to what is taking place in church, time passes within the blink of an eye. In this beautiful feast day of St. Demetrius, the Myrrh-streamer, Myrrh-gusher, the Great-martyr, all of these things has an impact for all of our lives. For all of us, and all of you, and all of us as a collective community, we celebrate this feast day with so much joy and so much gladness that we come together as a believing community, and not just from our community here, but from the neighboring parishes throughout the Metroplex as to where we are. And I pray, my dear brothers and sisters, that St. Demetrius intercede for each and every one of us. May we have his blessing. May we continue to live that life that St. Demetrius called us to be, and that is a witness of faith. Let us conclude the Vespers service. Lord, now let your servant depart in peace according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light to enlighten Gentiles and glory for your people Israel.